Okay, so we were solving this problem, okay? And we said that we will start from this point. So by starting from the first pulley, we determined that the tension here is 50 lb, okay? Then when considering the second pulley, we said because this is the same cable, so we have here 50 lb, and also we have here 50 lb, okay? And to have, and since it's a massless pulley, we don't put the weight of the pulley. This is why they said massless pulley, so no need to have the weight, okay? And we have here the force of 100 lb, okay? Now we can move to pulley B. If we move now to pulley B, then what do we have at pulley B? When you isolate B, in order to isolate B, you are cutting here. You are cutting in this cable and in this one, okay? For this cable, we have now demonstrated that the tension is 100 lb. So I can say that this is 100 lb and this is also 100 lb because it's the same cable, okay? So this is 100 lb and this is 100 lb, okay? So for equilibrium of this pulley, what should be the force in this cable here?
200.
Yes, very good. It should be 200. So I will write here, it's 200 lb, okay? And now, if I take the final pulley at A, if I do a cut here, I have 400 here and 400 here. Sorry, 200 here and 200 here. So let us write it. So 200 and 200. So I deduce that the force in this cable here is 400 lb. Okay? And now, for the final cable, I know that the final cable is attached to what? Is attached to a block. Okay? So I know that the tension in this cable should be equal to what for equilibrium?
To the weight of
To the
the
weight.
block.
Because if I take the weight and I draw the forces, I have here a downward force which is equal to the weight, W, and I have the tension in this cable, okay? And to be in equilibrium, the tension in this cable should be equal to W, okay? And since here it's one cable, so when I do a cut here at for pulley A, I will have the same force tension, which will be equal to W. So from here, I deduced that W is equal to what? To 400. Okay? So you can see that by just applying a force of 50, I am able to lift a block of 400 lb. This is due to the pulley system because you have multiple cables. So you are dividing your load in several cables, which will help you to lift your high weight. Okay? Now, what they did in this problem, they moved in the other direction. They started from A and moved towards D. And finally, they will obtain the same result. But they will have an unknown W until reaching this point. So if you start by A, if you draw the free body diagram of A, you say this is unknown, so I will put it equal to W. And here I have two cables. So to have equilibrium, if this is W, in each point I should have W over 2 because it's one cable, so it's the same tension. So this is W over 2 and this is W over 2. Then they moved to pulley B. For pulley B, in this cable here, it's the same tension of this one. So if this is W, because look at the figure, okay? If you consider this cable, this one, okay? You demonstrated now that the tension in this cable is W over 2. So when you take pulley B, what you will put here is W over 2, but downward, okay? And you have here two cables. So to have equilibrium, if this is W over 2, this should be W over 4 and W over 4. Now you move to pulley C, same approach. I have demonstrated that in this cable, the force is W over 4. So because here I have two cables from this side, for equilibrium, in each one I should have W over A. And finally, when I come up to pulley D, it's one cable, okay? And since it's one cable, I have the same tension everywhere. Because this is W over 8, W over 8 should be equal to 50. And if you solve now for W, you will get back to the same result, that W is equal to 400 L. Any question on this problem?
Hey doctor,
Yes.
بيقولي بي وسي إذا بتشيليون كيف بيكون شكل الكيبلز؟
شو هن؟ If I remove what?
In pulleys B and C, if you remove them, كيف شكل الكيبلز يعني كيف موصولين ببعض؟
Look, if you remove pulley B and pulley C, يعني look, let me, if you want, tell you how the cables are. Here, because you have different system of pulleys, you have different cables. So if you follow the cable, for example, okay, you have, this is the first cable is around pulley D, and it's going from C to D, then it's around pulley C and it's going to the ceiling. This is one cable from here to here, okay? So everywhere, at every point of this cable, so let me use the laser, it's easier. So this is one cable, okay? In this cable, at any point, you will have the same tension. So if you cut here or you cut here, it's the same tension. So this is your first cable. It's a different cable than this one. Here you start a new cable. It's starting from the center of pulley C, it's going around pulley B, and then it is attached to the ceiling level. Okay, so you can say that everywhere in this cable I have the same tension. So in this cable here, this cable is involved in pulley here, in pulley B. So this is your cable, the cable I am talking about. Everywhere you have a tension of W over 4. While for this cable here, everywhere you have a tension of W over A. Now the third cable here is this one. It's starting from here, getting around pulley C and going to the ceiling. So in this problem, you have three separate cables. In each cable, you have a tension. In this one, you have W over 8. In this one, you have W over 4. And in the third one, you have W over 2. If you don't have pulley B and pulley C, then you will not. You will have only one cable. So if you have only this one and just attached to pulley D, then you will have only one cable instead of three. Okay?
Okay, doctor.
Any other question on this?
Doctor, please, can you explain why pulley D is in equilibrium? Because I don't really get it.
Why pulley what? Can you please
pulley D.
Look, all pulleys are in equilibrium because if your system is in equilibrium, they said knowing that my system is in equilibrium. So whenever you say my system is in equilibrium, just 1 second, guys. When you say that your system is in equilibrium, this means that any pulley of my system should be in equilibrium. Because if one pulley is not in equilibrium, my system cannot be in equilibrium. So since all my system is in equilibrium, if I take any pulley of it, it will be in equilibrium. So for example, when you take pulley B is in equilibrium. This means that sum of forces acting on it is 0, okay? So if you do this, if you isolate pulley B, what are the forces acting on it? You have two cables attached to this pulley. This one, okay, so this one here, this is the first cable attached to this pulley, and this is the second one. Since here it's the same cable, you will have the same tension at this point and at this one, okay? So here you have, if we call this is cable 2, okay, then you have tension in cable 2 here and tension in cable 2 here. And we have demonstrated that for cable 2, the force is W/4. This is why you can say directly that here, this is W/4, and this is also W/4, okay? And now here at this level you have one force that is the tension in cable, this is cable 3, and the tension in cable 3 is W/2. So if you start from here, okay, if you do your solution in this way, then you will say that because here it's W/2, then I will deduce that here it's W/4. And if you started your solution the other way, okay, then you will say that I know that the tension here, because this is 50 lb, okay, then we demonstrated that here it is 100. So here you will say directly, I know this is 100 lb, and this also will be 100 because it's the same cable, okay? So I will deduce that the tension here will be 200. Okay, so whatever is the direction of solution, you will end up with the same result. Is it clear, or something else is not?
دكتور بس انه البولي دي اوكي انا I got what you isolated مثلا pulley D او pulley C بس can you isolate pulley D لانه
yes,
it's that one, that
look,
configuration
for pulley D, for pulley D, if you want to put all forces acting on it, yes, I understand now what you mean. For pulley D, you have a force here also. This is the reaction of the wall. But why they didn't put it? Because they don't need it, okay? Here you have the reaction of the wall on the pulley, okay? Why they didn't put what is the reaction here? Because they are only interested in the force in the cable. And because here you have one cable, so you can directly say, since it's one cable, okay, I will have the same tension. So because this is 50 here, in this part also it's 50. If you want to find what is the reaction of the wall on the pulley, now you can say, this is the reaction of the wall. And since this is 50 and this is 50, for equilibrium of pulley D, what should be the reaction of the wall? It should be
W
100
divided by 400.
Okay, but they didn't put this force because it's not interesting for them. But of course, when I draw a free body diagram, I should put all forces. So you are right. When you have a system, put all forces, even if you don't need it, just to be clear that you have equilibrium here. So of course, if you don't have this force, you cannot have equilibrium because here you have two downward force. So when you add the reaction of the wall, you will see that pulley D is also in equilibrium. Okay?
Okay, doctor, thank you so much.
Any other question on this? I will not start a new problem because you have another session, but if you want to ask any question, I am here.
Merci, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.